We are now on air. Time for a total takeover.
It's finally here. Welcome to a new episode.
It's about to go down.
Good morning. God bless you and yours. TGIF to be exact. It's yours truly, Dan Adams, a.k.a. the Soulful Conservative, the DA, and the prosecutor, coming to you live from not the original Political Heat remote studios, but I am in the Fetching Mrs. Adams vehicle today, the better half, the Mrs. And it's been a minute, and I want to talk about something that I didn't watch last night, and I guarantee you millions upon millions, except for leftist numbnut moonbats, watched last night, and that was the January 6th committee hearing. And I stated something the other day and got some mixed feedback, which I was hoping to get. And basically what I had said was I could give two flying finucks in regards to January 6th. In the realm of this, let me perfectly state this. Did I agree with those who actually committed crimes? Actual crimes that day? No, they should be prosecuted. But beyond that, and let me make this another statement. For those who are wrongfully prosecuted and have had their rights basically taken away, removed, withdrawn, just because they happen to walk into the Capitol building, which the police just allowed everyone to just waltz right into. Yeah, there was no pushback. They don't even want to talk about why that happened. They do not want to even broach the topic as to why Capitol Police just allowed everyone to just waltz into the Capitol that day. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, yeah. No one wants to talk about that. Right out of the gate. Why were these people just allowed to waltz into the Capitol? And my thing is this. As Trump tried to supply Nancy Pelosi with extra security, and she said, nah, we're good. But it was nothing but a, dog and pony show. It was nothing but a pat each other on the back of the leftist numbnut moonbats of the Democrat Party and the lamestream media, because they've been pushing January 6th since January 6th happened 2 years ago, and the only horrific outcome from that was the execution of Ashley Babbitt, the unarmed Ashley Babbitt, by Capitol Police officer. His name is escaping me. And the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that man is not being charged, that just goes to show you once again the levels of justice here in America. And when someone is particularly in charge, how those levels of justice is administered. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to talk much more about January 6th, but I just wanted to bring it up. And in the comment section, if you don't mind, let me know if you actually watched the January 6th committee hearing, prime time. What a joke. I'm done talking about it. So, now we have, ladies and gentlemen, I keep stating on social media that I am not a conspiracy nut. I don't have a conspiratorial bone in my body, but I tell you what, with all of these fires happening at all these farms and farm plants and food plants, and then we just learned, I just heard it on the radio, that a liquid natural gas plant in Texas, I believe, if I heard right, but there was an explosion. I don't know the extent of the damage, but here we go again. here we go again. Our normal everyday food processing is being attacked. I'm saying attacked. You can't have these many fires, a dozen at least across the country, major food processing plants across the country. And then now this happens at this liquid natural gas plant, which is going to compound our energy issues here in America and across the world, because I guarantee you that particular plant was the next exporter of energy. I'm sorry, I'm not a conspiracy nut, but these things are starting to add up, line up, and look a little fishy. What say you? With all this craziness going on. Like I said, I am not a conspiracy nut. I don't have a conspiratorial bone in my body. Never had my entire life. I've always thought, hey, okay, coincidence, coinkydinks, okay, and somehow I would just let my mind go down that path. But this is too much, ladies and gentlemen. This is just way over the top. This is too much. There's too much going on at the same time. There's too much going on, especially with this particular presidential administration and the lack thereof of a president, the lack thereof of a vice president, and I mean up here in the brain. But what they've been touting, what they've been screaming, what they've been wanting for years, and what they've tried to accomplish, just to a certain extent right now, as I speak, this Green New Deal, this dumbass Green New Deal that they've been trying to push through, seeing that they can't get it done legislatively, I think that's a word. So let's go ahead and attack the industries, plural, multiple, the industries that we are trying to get rid of, that we are trying to eliminate so our Green New Deal can be pushed through. Now, posted a video, and it's pretty good. I mean, if you haven't seen it, about the a GM, I guess, exec, I believe, manager, whoever, I guess testified and then took people on a tour in Michigan about electric cars and how great electric cars are. And I think this is a little, there we go. Electric cars and how great they are. And then they were at an electric car charging station. And one individual, thank you for asking this question. Don't know who this individual is, but thank you so much. They were asking, okay, this is plugged into where and where are you getting your energy from? And the lady had this RCA Victor look on her face and was like, well, it's getting power from this building. And the guy's like, well, where is this building getting its power from? Coal. And then the guy, they switched over to another guy saying, yeah, 90% of energy that's supplied to these electric charging stations come from coal. Wow, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. So we are to believe that these leftist numbnut moonbats, aka the Democrat Party, wants you to believe. And it's crazy how, here's the stats, posted this on social media. The median income in Michigan, median family income, is $59,000. $59,000. Guess how much the average electric car costs? $56,000. You do the math. So these folk want you to somehow bend over backwards and go broke to buy an electric car where the electric car uses coal to charge itself. Half the time, these electric charging stations do not have the capacity. You can see and you've seen the pictures in California. Electric cars lined up waiting, and in most instances, having to charge their car an entire day. Really? So how does that work? So you're going to charge your car an entire day to get a day. And sometimes, even within that day, you need to charge your car for another day. Do you know how idiotic that sounds? So how are you getting around when you have to charge your car even half a day? How are you getting to work? How are you supplying the needed essentials for yourself and your family when you don't have the transportation to get to where you need to get to on a daily basis? And they want America and the world to just flip a switch. Get it? Flip a switch and become green like the Jolly Green Giant. These people are insane. It is nothing but a Ponzi scheme like Black Lives Matter. People just need to wake up and look what's in front of their eyes. Now, I'm not saying and sitting here and saying, electric cars and it's so funny. It's so funny. They want you to buy an electric car that's charged by the energy that they want to get rid of, coal. Okay? That's just, let me state that again. They want you to buy an electric car whose charging stations is primarily run via coal being one of the energy outlets that the left and the mainstream media want to eliminate and get rid of. You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. You can't make this stuff up. And if you try to, I don't know where you're going to land in regards to the scope and realm of the lunacy that's on display by the left and the mainstream media. But take it from me, and I'm glad it is Friday. Just want to get through this work day as quickly and efficiently as possible, like I do on the daily. But as you go about your day today, and as you try to navigate the current economic situation that all of us are in right now, it's not just affecting low man on the totem pole and those out there who are in the same economic situation that I am in. But look at the markets, look at the billionaires and millionaires and what they're needing to do in regards to the Biden inflation that's been afflicted upon us. Yes, the Biden inflation, the Democrat inflation, the leftist numbnut moonbat inflation that we're currently experiencing, that we're trying to navigate as best as possible. But when you have situations like what we're dealing with right now, the American people always do what they have to do. Step up, adjust to survive. And that's what we have to do. That's what we've always done and will continue to do. But to all of my leftist Democrats out there, not even just leftist Democrats, just run-of-the-mill, not too way down far to the left Democrat in the entire Democrat Party. So this is the path that you've led us down. And you cannot blame Putin. You cannot blame this. You cannot blame that. Especially, when it comes to energy here in America. Because we were energy independent during, or should I say, at the trail end of the Trump administration. Gas prices have doubled. Over the top doubled plus in regards to gas and energy across the board. And we're just a year and a half in former Vice President Sleepy Joe Biden's presidency. We're just a year and a half in. And I don't want to, bring back the idiotic January 6th committee. But where are all the committees in regards to, let's talk about the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. Why haven't we had a committee on that where 13 service members died? Can someone explain to me how that's even possible? Let's talk about something that happened 2 years ago that the Democrats allowed to happen in order to paint Trump and his supporters in a negative light. You can't tell me by the Capitol Police just allowing these people to waltz right in that was by accident. No. January 6th was planned by Pelosi and the Democrats. Because if she was concerned about security, then she would have took up Trump's offer saying, hey, I'll give you the National Guard, whatever you need, in order to make sure everything goes smoothly. Because I know there's going to be some emotional individuals out here. But did she take him up on his offer? No, she didn't, because this was planned. Allow these folk to roll up and through here and make it look like it's an insurrection when we know it wasn't an insurrection. 90+% of those individuals just happened to trespass into the Capitol building. And that's not even trespassing when the authorities just allowed you to waltz right in. Now, those, like I said, for those who, caused damage, fought police, did whatever that was illegal, that was actually illegal, then they should be prosecuted. But just waltzing onto the Capitol grounds, a lot of individuals were arrested, depending, I guess, who you were or who you are. But to get back to the topic at hand in regards to Bidenflation and the non-committees that should have happened with everything that has happened so far, southern border, Afghanistan, COVID, and I think my wife told me last night, because I was just out of pocket in regards to everything last night, but then she told me that Title 42 was lifted. Okay, so we already have, now, I'm not even going to call it a crisis. It's a crisis upon the American people, yes. Well, this is what Biden and the Democrats want. They want open borders, so they're just going to just try and do whatever they possibly can to allow that to happen, but make it look like they're doing something at the border, which we all know that they're not. So with Title 42 and its measures being lifted, we already know that I think it's a 10 or 20,000 caravan is just about to just waltz up into the southern border. And I wonder how former Vice President Sleepy Joe Biden is going to address that situation. And with Title 42 being lifted, we all know that they just want these individuals to just waltz right into the country so they can become Democrat voters. That is what it is about. It's not about compassion and, oh, we need to help you get out of the situation that you were in, whatever country that you came from. No. It is about securing their base and adding to the Democrat voter rolls. Point blank, end of story. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how our southern border is going to be affected by Title 42 being lifted. I feel for all border states and border citizens that live in those states, and especially those citizens who live right up smack dab to the border, and they see these individuals coming into our country illegally. I don't know what's going to be the ultimate outcome, but it's not good, ladies and gentlemen, and especially with everything else that is going on in our country, it is not going to end well. So all you Democrats who are scratching your head as to why are we in the situation that we're in right now in our country? No, you're the reason why, because you supposedly voted in and if you knew that you actually pulled the lever legally for Joe Biden in November of 2020, and you're scratching your head thinking, wow, we are really effed up right now, then look in the mirror and do something about it in November. Point blank. End of story. So until next time, it is TGIF. God bless you and yours. May he keep you and your family safe. Until next time, peace.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. A year and a half after January 6th, the date much in the news right now, it's interesting that even the most basic questions about what actually happened that day remain mysteriously unanswered. First and most obviously, if you've seen the tape, why did law enforcement open the doors of the building and let protesters walk right into the Capitol? That's bizarre behavior, no matter what they say. So why did it happen? And then once it did happen, why did authorities lie to the country for months and tell us that Officer Brian Sicknick had been murdered by the mob, when in fact the medical examiner determined that he died of a stroke hours later? Just tonight on CBS News, we were informed just a moment ago, as Norah O'Donnell stared on like it was true, that 5 police officers were murdered by the mob on January 6th. Really? We know of one killing on January 6th, and that killing was committed by Officer Michael Byrd, a Capitol Hill police officer with a confirmed record of highly reckless behavior with firearms, and yet, for some reason, he was allowed to shoot an unarmed, non-threatening woman in the neck. Why was he allowed to do that? What was the justification? No one's ever told us. Why is that? And by the way, just how many FBI agents and DOJ informants were active in the crowd on January 6th? And what exactly were they doing there? Why can't we know the answer to that question? Seriously. And why did Kamala Harris lie about where she was on January 6th? And why are there still no leads on those 2 attempted pipe bombings on Capitol Hill? Remember those? There are massive amounts of physical evidence, but the FBI apparently has gotten nowhere. How come? And so on. So there is still, once again, a remarkable amount that we don't know about what happened that day, despite the fact they tell us it was the largest FBI investigation in American history. That's very strange. We'll address it all in some detail on tomorrow's show. But tonight we want to get to the most basic question of all that you never hear asked. And it's this. Why did so many Trump voters show up at the Capitol in the first place? Somehow no one's ever really explained that. For a year and a half, Democrats have searched for a smoking gun that would prove some sort of pre-planned conspiracy to storm the Capitol. They haven't found that because there wasn't a pre-planned conspiracy. So instead, they've told us that the crowd converged on the Capitol that day because their orange cult leader commanded them to. Now, Trump did encourage a protest that day. That is true. But it's not a real explanation for what happened next. The people you saw outside the Capitol on January 6th were not brainwashed robots, mindlessly following their leader, whatever you think of them. They weren't sociology students from Wesleyan telling you with a straight face there are 400 genders because their professors told them so. No, they were just the opposite. These were mostly sober middle-class people, older, for the most part, small business owners from smallish towns far from the fashionable coasts. They're mostly passionately patriotic Americans, the kind who believe in the Bill of Rights and know what it says. These are people who genuinely love America, far more than, say, Chuck Schumer loves America. So why were they there? Why'd they go to the Capitol? Well, because, again, unlike Chuck Schumer, they actually believed in democracy. And they believed their democracy had been taken from them. They were convinced that the presidential election was unfair, which it certainly was. Some of them believed the election had been rigged. We'll let others debate whether that's true, but the fact is many that day believed it was true. And that itself is a huge problem for all of us going forward. The fact that large numbers of Americans believe democracy isn't real may itself be the biggest threat to our democracy. Because in order for our system to work, the population has to believe that it works. In other words, that our elections are fair and transparent and therefore legitimate. You can't just censor or arrest people for thinking the system is rigged. You have to show them the system isn't rigged. That is your baseline obligation if you lead the country. And yet the Biden administration, amazingly, is doing just the opposite. After screaming at the rest of us for questioning elections, that's immoral, they said, Joe Biden himself has begun to do just that. Here's Biden in January.
Speaking of voting rights legislation, if this isn't passed, do you still believe the upcoming election will be fairly conducted and its results will be legitimate?
Well, it all depends on whether or not we're able to make the case to the American people that some of this is being set up to try to alter the outcome of the election.
You were asked whether or not you believed that we would have free and fair elections in 2022 if some of these state legislatures reformed their voting protocols. You said that it depends. Do you think that they would in any way be illegitimate?
Oh, yeah, I think it easily could be illegitimate.
Huh? So 2020 was the most secure election in American history. They tell us that endlessly, and you're a nut, probably a criminal, if you say otherwise. And they say that because Biden won. He got, what do they say, 81 million votes. But things are different now because the Democratic Party understands it will be severely punished. It will be spanked at the polls 5 months from now. So because they know what the outcome is going to be, Joe Biden is now telling us that that election could, quote, easily be illegitimate. Illegitimate? How would it be illegitimate? Well, if states required voter IDs at the polls to stop voter fraud.
See them looking at you, all of them wishing they could have you. And as a matter of fact, a bunch of them itching for you to scratch them. I'm trying to hide in what we feel, trying to come with the real. And I'm gonna make it known, cause I want them to know. My little baby, my darling baby. Swear to you're the talk of the town. Everybody wants to know what's going down. Babe, I know they've seen this before. Maybe at the liquor store, maybe at the health food stand, cause they don't know I'm your man. My lady, you're my lady. You're my lady. So cold, I know I love it when you love me. There's no other lover but you, me, lady, 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 lady.